All right, so pick two, round two of the 2023 NFL Draft. The Tennessee Titans selected quarterback Will Levis. Right, this is the more controversial of the picks. And of course, right, it's at a premium position. It's a player that is extremely polarizing. He's almost not polarizing. More people have apprehension about this selection than they do celebration. First things first, it's reported if he was available at pick 11, the Tennessee Titans may have pulled the trigger there. But obviously he was. Let's just say if Peter Skoronsky was taken before and Will Levis remained at pick 11, it's a possibility that he could have been the selection. Let's put it that way. Um, However, we know that's not how it played out. Um, Tennessee Titans called. They tried to move up into the first round to select him. That didn't work out with the Bills because Dalton Kincaid, my tight end one, was available. So early day two, they're trying to work with former Titans executive Monty Ossenfort with the Cardinals, um, and they got a deal done. Which basically they're moving back 9 spots twice in this year's draft. They moved back 9 from 72 to 81. And then I think they did it again in another round, or maybe it was just that one time, and then they traded a third rounder for next year to get a premium position at the top of the second. When usually, for example, in 2021, my quarterback four, which Will Levis was my quarterback for this year, usually your QB4 is gonna get taken in the first round. Mac Jones, I believe, was my QB4 in 2021, and he went pick 15 mid round. So it is a value pick. You didn't give up that much, right? You know, you know, currently. But I will have to say this. I will have to say this. My evaluation of Will Levis 2022 tape, I've already said it. He gave me headache. He gave me a headache. He was so frenetic. He was so sporadic. He was trying to force the issue. Um, and then there's these theatrics, right? There's these theatrics that throughout the draft process where he's, creating buzz for himself, I guess, what he thinks with the coffee and the mayonnaise and the eating of bananas. It was endearing, in 2022 before the process, because when I saw him play, here and there before this draft, I was like, this is a solid dude if he can put it together. Then I put on the 22 tape and I'm like, okay, man, this is a drop off. But there were some differences. There was some situations within that Kentucky program where it did make things somewhat difficult. But a lot of times, usually the players that do go through those things, they keep their mouths shut and they don't really have much, excuses. But when asked, I guess you can say what really happened, what really occurred, and try to defend yourself, right, in some degree. But I will have to say the good about Will Levis is his size, his arm strength, very linear down the field arm strength. Now, layering throws, he's going to have to get better at. He's going to have a good amount of leadership. He's going to have a good amount of recall for plays. He has the ability to run, but the way that he runs is one of those ways that you don't want your quarterback to really run, right? Because he doesn't really protect himself that well. I will have to say that is a strength and it is a weakness based off the way that he runs. He reminds me of Carson Wentz in so many ways. The reckless abandon when he runs, the arm strength, but the lack of touch and the ability to layer your throws. I think this is a pick that is, it could go anywhere from Malik Willis beating him out because Malik Willis emerges, or you have two quarterbacks who never emerge, or you can have Will Levis developing in 2 years and being 2017 version of Carson Wentz, which was almost an MVP type of player. So with that being said, I think that you can't knock the Titans trying to get a value player. It's your QB4 at pick 33. Usually quarterbacks go in the first round, like those first 4 to 5, they go in the first round. And I think the talent that Will Levis has, he merited a late second, I mean a late first. So it's around his value, but at the same time, it's a very interesting story and it gives people something to talk about. But overall, is it something that I would do? I would not specifically target Will Levis to move up. I personally wouldn't. If there was a player that I would have been mad at for not trading up, it would have been Jonathan Mingo, which that's for another video when I go over my guys. But Will Levis, I mean, it's just a guy that competed in the SEC, performed well. Um, when in 2021 specifically, but I think that the underlying hero here might be Wan'Dale Robinson, who was the receiver that he was throwing to that year, which had amazing performances. But if that's the case, then surround him with talent. But that's the case for any quarterback. So it's like you're doing your checks and balances on what is really a franchise quarterback. Is it just you creating a environment that a quarterback can prosper, any quarterback, or are you really drafting or acquiring a player that can raise ceilings? He's a floor raiser. I don't think that Will Levis right now is a floor raiser. So at that point, couldn't you just have done that with Malik Willis? Couldn't you have done that with a free agent quarterback? Provide weapons for him? If that's your, yeah, I just don't understand it. Or are you just trying to get a quarterback on that second round contract? So I'm just trying to weigh the checks and balances here. But like I said, the middling line for Will Levis is backup that's often injured because of his run style. Or I don't wish that on anybody, but you have to project these things. Or just like a middling player, or he becomes, like I said, that 2017 version or something close to it of Carson Wentz, and then you got your guy. But all signs point to an uphill climb. Um, there's certain details he has to improve upon with his game, but I believe that it's not as bad as what some people say, and it's not as good as from a value standpoint, because it is value because your quarterback 4 is there at 33, but it's not as bad as people are talking about, like, he's a bust, right? The guy hasn't even stepped on the field yet. He's functional and he has athletic traits, so give him a chance. So I'll see you guys on the next one. We're going to talk about that third round pick.